much money, and I don't have much time, and I don't have many friends I could call mine. And I've been deceived, yeah, but haven't we all? I've seen the sun rise, and I've seen the sun fall. Well, I don't know why, and I don't know where, and I don't even know how, and I no longer care. But I've seen your face, heard your call. Yes, I've seen the sun rise, and I've seen the sun fall.
Hello and welcome to my Tuesday reaction video. Just going to prattle for a couple of seconds to check everything's working. I think I've got some people watching on Facebook. But those watching on Facebook, do you mind just writing in the comments? We've got this little bit on again, off again scenario where the comments sometimes work and sometimes they don't. So yeah, if you are watching on Facebook, please shoot us a message there so I can check it's all working. Thank you. And yeah, I think we're getting some people watching from YouTube as well. Okay, so Tuesdays, I like to try, if I have time, to do a short 10-15 minute reaction video, just getting them off the ground really. And it's usually if I come across a clip or someone sends me a clip that I like to react to. And whereas in this case, I'm reacting to last week's, what did I call it? The Snake Jesuit Tool of Satan video. And what happened next. Barn night is back on, and it happened last Saturday night. And people have been asking me, did I know? Why didn't I say anything about it? So I'm going to unpack a little bit about that today. But oh, it looks like Adrian has commented. So we do know that Facebook is working. So if someone from YouTube could comment, that would be great. And then I can know that we're all going ahead live. So yeah, I'll be talking about Barn Night. I'll be talking a little bit about last week's interview. Some people, I think it'd be good for me to kind of explain just for 2 minutes what my actual thoughts are on that guy that did the attack video on myself in Avondale. And I'm going to share a little video clip of Saturday night, get your thoughts on what you think. And I'm going to just share a little bit about what happened, how it all went down. And so that's coming up in a minute. But I wanted to just make a couple of quick announcements before I do. If you're trying to watch the last week's longer reaction video, the Snake Jesuit Tool of Satan video, You can watch it on YouTube, but it had a massive copyright claim on it on Facebook, and you can't watch it. Most people can't watch it on Facebook. So if you are wanting to watch that that video, you'll need to watch it on YouTube. The other thing is it's quite long, and I kind of don't really get to the point until the last probably 20 minutes. So I recommend, if you really want to just watch the kind of the kernel of thought that I wanted to convey, watch it 1.5 hours in for about 20 minutes after that, and you'll get the real gist of what I was trying to say. Also, my interview this week with Andrea McMahon was going to be Thursday. I forgot, I'm away for a festival in Sydney, so I won't be able to unfortunately do that interview. So we've put it on to next week. So Andrea, if you're watching, I know we've been chatting about that. That is going to be next week, Thursday, 12:30 midday, Sydney, New South Wales time, 5:30 p.m. LA time on the Wednesday night. Cannot wait. It's going to be a fabulous interview. And last little point of interest, tomorrow I'll be doing a longer reaction video on what I think real Adventism is. What is the whole point of Adventism? Why did it get off the ground? What's its primary motivation? What is its goal? And a lot of people don't really know what it is. And don't get thrown or upset by my use of the word real Adventist. I just kind of, that's my little pet term, real Adventists and gospel Adventists. Those that know me know it's a little bit tongue-in-cheek, but also it's the more traditional Adventist view, but it permeates the whole reason for being. So I'll be sharing what that is tomorrow. The whole reason Adventism began, existed, and wants to promote its message is this key thing I'll be sharing tomorrow. 12:30 Wednesday, Sydney, New South Wales time, Tuesday, 5:30 p.m. LA time, and you guys can extrapolate the rest of the times. Okay, I know we've got quite a few people watching on YouTube. Just keen for someone to write a comment for me, just so I know it's all working. Okay, I've got this little timer thing that I I throw on now that goes for about 30 seconds, just so that people who are watching can go, you know, I want to just watch where he starts properly, not all the preamble. So I'll see you in 30 seconds, and we'll begin the reaction to the barn night that happened on the weekend just gone. Hello and welcome to another SDAQ&A. Today I'm talking about the barn night. So just to recap a little bit of what went down last week in my interview, I'm going to play just a quick 30-second clip of that. And just so you know, I had been playing at the Avondale College, now University, the Peter Dixon Band, Avondale Barn Night, for 30 years, annually, every year for 30 years. And then sadly, Advent Messenger, I might try and bring them up on the screen, Fulcrum 7 and Amazing Word Ministries, were very upset about this, and they let everybody know. And so I was banned from Avondale College from doing the Peter Dixon Band barn nights. And yeah, it was upsetting. I love Avondale. I love the barn nights. I love the kids. I love the actual campus. I am Avondale. I went to Sabbath school, primary school, high school, Avondale College, taught at Avondale schools, primary and high school, taught music at Avondale College, now university. And when I started a business there after leaving the teaching, it was called Avondale Music. So yeah, you can't get any more Avondale than me. And I love the place, still do. So here's a little clip of how this kind of all went pear-shaped. And just work out how to play it. Here we go.
Notice with me on the screen. This is from Avondale News. Avondale College in Australia. That's we're talking about at the Seventh-day Adventist Australia, Avondale College. It says here, that fresh start feeling, food, fun, and faith, a future of welcome week at Avondale. What's the word there? Fun, mixed with faith. Notice, senior students on the Sydney campus begin their academic year earlier, February, what's the date? 11th, but also organize events, including what is it? A pool party. And a How to Thrive session during the week. The week ended with the 30th anniversary of what is it? A barn dance, which again featured alumnus and guitarist Peter Dixon. The singer and songwriter has performed at the event every year for 30 years. Now, we see two things here that tells us, what is it? Fun and barn dance? Pool party. Notice with me. Question, what was the reason why the Avondale College...
And then he... hang on. Oh, that's still going. There we go. Sorry about that. He then goes on to talk about Ellen White founding Avondale College and why it was founded, and then extrapolates that therefore barn nights are bad. This was the original magazine article. Advent Messenger, Adventist Youth Go Wild every year at Avondale College. And then there's a bunch of clips. I'll just show you some of the things that they posted there. People smiling, happy, having a good time. And yeah, so that article, the Amazing Words Ministries guy, and Fulcrum 7, those magazines prompted the real Adventists, the traditional historicists, some would say fundamentalist Adventists, to rise up and ban me from playing at Avondale for 30 years. And yeah, that was upsetting. But, you know, I took it in my stride and still loved Avondale. Some people, after watching that video, said a couple of things I just want to clarify. Some people said, oh, you'll never change these people's minds. True, I'm not trying to. Other people said, are you trying to restore the left and right of Adventism, the two churches in one? No, I'm not trying to do that. They will never agree. I've often said they are chalk and cheese. They will never get on. If anything, I'm just trying to highlight that it's very confusing and people need to be very careful getting involved with Adventism. And if they're within Adventism and want to support a more traditional view, that's fine. But those who have a more progressive view, I think, need to get a bit more organized, coordinated, and a bit bolder and shout from the rooftops their gospel Adventism. And so, yeah, I'm not trying to change people's minds. I'm not trying to bring the two sides back together in harmony. They will never do that. They're chalk and cheese. I'm just highlighting some of the confusion that surrounds Adventism, and encouraging the two sides to just try not to hobble each other's progress, get out of each other's hair. And to do that, the progressive, the gospel Adventist needs to be a bit more coordinated, organized, and proud of their quite unique theology. The gospel Adventist, post-glacier view, Des Ford, is a very interesting kind of Adventist, and they tend to be a little bit quiet. Anyway, and the other thing people were commenting on was this guy that you just saw in the video. They were saying, "Oh, look, he is an anomaly," or "Don't listen to him. He's just an independent," and all sorts of things like that. And don't be upset by what he was saying. My point of that, doing that Snakes, Jesuit, Tool of Satan video, was to highlight that kind of attack occurred to me all the time through my whole period of being an Adventist. There was always someone like that guy willing to, after a gig, tear me down. But it's not about me. I'm not saying poor me. The creatives within the Adventist Church experience this and have experienced it for decades. Every time they try something a bit different, outside the box, a little bit creative, a little bit more contemporary, they are pounced upon by that kind of person. So I'm not talking about him being an anomaly, as in him being a unique, slightly off kilter kind of individual. I'm talking about that kind of thing occurring more often than not for creatives, that they experience that kind of attack. So my point was, that why was that so normalized for me? It's only now that I'm realizing to be called a tool of Satan and a Jesuit and a snake in the grass and demon possessed and all of that kind of thing. I just thought that was par for the course. So my point isn't, oh no, that terrible thing happened to me. My point is, why on earth did I think that was just normal, par for the course? Yeah, it's not. It's shameful. It's abusive. And that kind of thing goes on to this day for creatives inside the Adventist Church. That's one of the points I wanted to make, that why is it normalized? And most creatives go, oh, okay, well, that's just it. That's just what happens. It's terrible. Imagine telling people on a regular basis that they are working for the devil, and for that person not to be shocked. I told some people after I did that interview at a program I was at on the weekend, and they were just shocked. Jaws were dropping. They weren't Adventists, had never really heard of Adventism. And I thought, yeah, wow, to the average person, this is seriously dangerous and considered abusive. They weren't laughing. Like, even I'm laughing about it. They were like, serious? That went on your whole life within Adventism as a creative? Yeah, me and all the other creatives. That's what happens. So, yeah, I wanted to make a point that I'm not trying to change people or bring the two sides together. I wanted to make the point that I am not offended by that guy, but shock horror, why wasn't I? Why was it normalized for me? And the other thing I wanted to say is, why didn't the many progressive leaders, the so-called good guys, having invited me and other creatives to be involved, follow up with support when these attacks were happening? So that's a pretty important thing. Those two things were the main two things I wanted to get across in my very long reaction video last week. Why was it normalized? How come it was allowed to go on and on and on for decades and still does? I just wanted to bring a couple of comments in, and then I'm going to get a bit more up to date with the barn night and how I think something positive just happened. Cindy Lou was watching. The 11th commandment, thou shalt not have fun, not dancing, aerobic dancing for fitness only. Blakis, how are you? I love that he implies fun is not okay. I know. And Cindy says, not implied, flat out pronouncement. Darren Pratt writes, I was told, and hey, Darren. Darren lives 20 meters away. Are you writing from home right now? You could shout through my window. I was told in one church that I was giving the kids the mark of the beast by teaching them how to twist balloons. Bizarre. My balloon ministry has gone on to become a worldwide ministry, and it's an incredible work that you do there, Darren. Incredible. And you know, I hear stories like Darren just said there. This is what I'm saying. It's not about me. I'm just a lightning rod regarding the barn night and it getting cancelled because of that. There was a huge reaction. But this percolates all the time and has done for decades for creatives. Decades. Back into the 60s. And look, it did go on out in the secular world as well. People were getting blasted for anything that was contemporary, rock and roll, this kind of thing. The Adventist Church has got a unique thing going on here where you're literally demonized weekly and you think it's normal and it never stops and no one stops it. Who has written this? Jesse David Tasker. I am more welcomed in my community band during the week than to music on Saturday morning. Yeah, that's true. And Jenny Howard has written, fantastic to see again the barn night. Very true. So let me get into the barn night. So I think I've recapped that pretty well. And so just before I went to California, I'd heard from one of the, I'm not going to mention names actually, because I'm not sure if they want me to or not. So they might be totally happy for me to do that. So I'll just, I'll kind of loosely say this person was in charge of marketing, overseeing marketing, whatnot, and events and that kind of thing at Avondale. And he contacted me and said, would I be interested in getting the barn night back on track again and getting the tradition back in the pocket? And I said, yes, immediately. Because I don't harbor any grudge over it. And it looked a little bit like maybe it was going to happen, not going to happen. I think there might have been some pushback. And so it was literally the night before I left for California that it was confirmed. And so I literally went away the next day. And as you know, had an incredible time in California, came back, slept a few hours, drove to Brisbane, was there for a week, got back home last week, I think it was. And I knew when I was doing my program last week that barn night was on again. And if you listen right to the end, I give a little secret hint about it. being on, which I don't think anyone picked up. So maybe you don't watch right through these videos. That's okay. Watch whatever you can. 30 seconds, 3 seconds, 1 minute, 1 hour, whatever. Anyway, so I thought, look, I want to do a reaction video on it without talking about it going ahead again, because I want to talk about how I feel and how it made me feel. And as I said earlier, if you do watch that video, the Snakes, Jesuits, Tool of Satan video, you can only watch it now on YouTube. And I'd recommend watching 1.5 hours in. And I get to the point at that around there for the next 15, 20 minutes. So that's why I didn't talk about it overtly, because I wanted to really delve into how it had made me feel being banned, and the whole creatives and the normalizing, and just how ridiculous it is that so many good people remain quiet about it. I did notice that in the Advent Messenger article, so many young people, so many former Avondale students wrote comments in support of Avondale and in support of the barn night. So that was encouraging and surprising. The next generation coming up aren't going to take this. And so anyway, the gig wasn't going to actually officially start till about 7:30 p.m. But I was so, and I'm going to play a clip of it in a moment, but I was so, I can't explain it, not nervous. It was just full on in my mind. And so I got there about 4 o'clock, a good 3.5 hours before it was to start. And I, before the rest of the band arrived, people were setting up. Most of it had been set up the day before, but there were people milling around. And so I went in and caught up with the main organizer, and it was, I still felt like, is this going to happen? Are they going to block this last minute? And he was very warm and reassuring. And I met the Vice Chancellor. She came and said hello to me. And I actually know her on a personal level. And so it was great to chat with her. I met with a lot of the young kids, the new students, first years, second years. They were kind of milling around. And there was just a really great vibe there. Avondale is a beautiful location, and it's always had a friendly kind of vibe to it. Now, as you know, I grew up on the campus there. My father was a lecturer there, 68 to 61-ish. He and my mum had been there studying, graduating, I think, in 57. Mum had also been to Sabbath school, primary school, high school, college, taught at Avondale. So I'm marinated in Avondale. But we lived up on the top there as a kid near the water tower. And there was the Drewers and the Lindsays and the Irvines and the Hokins and the Salmons and the Magnusons and, oh boy, I don't want to forget people's names, but it was such an incredible community. I feel like I was raised an Avondalist and went to followed Avondaleism. It was a unique kind of Adventism. Des Ford, I think, was still there, 68, 69. Gillian can confirm that. I know he was there, I'm pretty sure, at least a year while I was there as a kid. Norm Young, Lyndon Rogers, just incredible, Arthur Patrick, incredible bunch of people that held this space there that was very open, diverse, gospel-based, Bible-based. We did not hear all the kind of standing without an intercessor kind of things. Avondale is a really warm place for me. And so, yeah, so when I was banned, it was like, "Oh, what?" But I love this place. And anyway, yeah, I'm there early, gradually setting up. And come about 6:30, the main organizer said, "Hey, why don't you come up and we'll shout your dinner up there?" And the cafeteria is like a cafe now. I think it's called Avondale 7 or something like that. And I tell you what, it's open 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. 7 days a week, I think. And the food was amazing. So I'm sitting there happy as Larry, like the students are friendly, the staff are friendly, a few scholars and professors and academics poke their heads in. I'm feeling very welcome. But I'm also thinking, if it's going to be a bush dance, if we play anything that's a little bit rock and roll or a little bit danceable, am I to stop them? But I got the impression that, look, just do your thing. We accept you as you are. Go for it. And because you can't really, I don't know. It's either dancing, yes or no, in my opinion. You can't kind of, well, let's maybe. So anyway, I was mindful of that and still a bit apprehensive. Barb and the girls popped in because we still hadn't started playing by 8 o'clock. And they popped in just before we were about to go on stage. And I called the girls up on stage, gave them a big hug, big cheer from the crowd. And there was a big crowd, at least 250. Some said 300, but I'm guessing around 250. Excited, friendly, kind, respectful, just great bunch of kids. So anyway, I started playing, and immediately everyone got up and started getting into it, and we had a great night. So I'm just going to play a quick little clip of one part of the night, and then I'll wrap it up. Check your comments. But I mainly wanted to just let you know that it went well, and I'll tell you a little bit about the post response as well. Yeah, so that's a little bit of the night there. And look, it was just so much fun. And the kids had a great time. And afterwards, I did have a little chat with a handful, well, a heap of people came down and we were doing selfies and things. And people were saying, oh, my parents were at college when you were doing the barn night. And one girl came up and said, my grandma knows you. And it was just warm and friendly. And yeah, look, a little bit rock and roll, bit of dancing. And yeah, quite possibly Ellen White may not have liked that. But I think it was a night where the gospel Adventists, the progressive Adventists, those that are hoping for a little bit more enlightenment, rational thinking to prevail, made a stand. I don't know what the pushback is going to be. I don't know, if I'll be back next year. The main guy has invited me back, enjoyed it, had a great time. other people that I'm wanting to mention names, but that's why I'm hesitating. But yeah, other people came up and said, look, we're going to have you back. The tradition continues. And I think I've got another 10 years in me. I reckon I can do it for another 10 years. We'll see how we go. So, yeah, and then when everyone kind of left and the kids were gone, a handful of students hung around, and they did want to talk about why it was banned, and one guy, and he actually took that footage. He definitely was honest about how he didn't see that as being the kind of thing he personally liked or would choose for a social evening, but he was there the whole night. He's the guy that, as I said, took the video. He was very friendly. He helped throughout the night with the PA, etc. And we just had a great conversation, and we talked about Glacier View. We talked about how both sides of the church are kind of holding each other back a little bit. But it was just such a warm conversation. I'm saying warm a lot because it just felt warm and friendly. And I just felt like there was hope for the progressive Adventist. Look, I'm not going to become an Adventist again, but that doesn't stop me from having friends in my life that are Adventists. It doesn't stop me from loving Avondale University. It doesn't stop me from being an Avondalist. I follow Avondalism. It's a very unique kind of culture there that I grew up in. And it's one that I think would be a very healthy one to spread throughout all of Adventism. If people aren't going to leave and they're going to stay, and there's lots of good reasons for people to stay if they can keep away from some of the cray-cray that's out there within Adventism. It's a good model. And so I'm interested in seeing what happens next. Does Fulcrum, Advent Messenger, Amazing Word Ministries, does their ears prick up? Do their ears prick up? And do they find this material? Does it get into the I was going to say wrong hands, in their mind, the right hands? And is it banned again? I think what happens next is going to be very, very interesting. But as it stands, Avondale University is an incredible place. I've got no problem saying that. The young kids there were amazing. The evening grew as we continued throughout. That was one of the first tunes there, I think, from memory. It was just a wonderful place, and a place I'd recommend for sure. Okay, so just to finish, I'm going to just read a couple of the comments here, and then we'll have this as a reasonably short reaction video. I think Jenny Howard wrote this. Sorry if some people are back in the 1800s, 1950s, or even now. Yeah. And Buckingham. Hi, Anne. How are you? I need some help with that mailing list. Can you message me? Creativity is welcomed in many denominations, but not in SDA. And abuse is at worst accepted, and at best has a blind eye turned to it. Yeah, you've nailed it. That was my whole point of the last interview, or the last reaction video. That is why I really appreciate Darren Pratt's ministry that wants to expose abuse so it can be dealt with. Darren has these incredible posts. What do you call it, Darren? Oh, I know it super well. It's got a mental blank. Darren has anyway, it'll come to me. But they do challenge people's thoughts, and highly recommend people check them out. But you've nailed it there, Anne. It's abuse. Why do I still laugh about it? Like I do laugh about it. It seems funny to me. But you just think about calling young kids demon possessed, and they're serious. They mean it. And I think the worst thing is when the good people turn a blind eye. As I mentioned, a lot of the young people spoke up in Advent Messenger in the comments in that article. And a lot of the good people wrote to me behind the scenes. And I said, look, not really interested in your support. If you can't say it on the wall, don't even tell me. Just not interested. And Jenny wrote, I was so happy to have read the barn dance was happening at Avondale. Our young people need to have a choice if they want to attend or not. Exactly. So pleased that whoever this person was that gave the green light, they have a heart for young people. And that is true, they do. And I'm pretty sure they won't mind me mentioning their name. I'll wait till next week and see. I've written and asked. Barry Ford. My sister's psychiatrist told her that he could get a lot of work at Avondale in mental health. I believe he must be referring to the traditional group. No, yes and no. Also to the progressives. Huge, a friend of mine was psychologist in the area here, and she said that she spoke to many on both sides. The more traditional group, because they fear their salvation, they're not assured, really. We say we are, but we're not. And then the progressives are trying to kind of deal with the cognitive dissonance. I want to stand up and say it's terrible to tear down creatives, but I'm too scared of losing my job. And so they go to a counsellor to work that through. Blakis, sweet guitar solo. I'm glad someone noticed. Thank you. And Blakis, when am I getting you on the show? I want to talk about your stuff. Who is this? No dancing. Hang on. This is Darren again. This was part of the orientation week at university. Great way to build instant community. Well done, Peter, and well done, the organisers. Thank you, Darren. It was indeed a fantastic way to build community. And Jesse has written, no dancing on your part this time. Yeah, I didn't dance at all. I just jumped up and down. Anne has written again, they looked like they were enjoying themselves and they knew the dance. I tell you something interesting, and I will say Wendy Thompson, she just did a great job at she's been training the kids. I normally have to teach the steps to that one, and I literally started playing the tune, and next minute they all started. It was as if, and they all started at the same time. They just started doing the moves. I normally have to teach them that. Off they went. So she did a great job. Where are we? Thank you, Barry. Peter, you could have been a candidate because of what you had been through, but you're obviously strong mentally. Yeah, that is true. That is true. I am lucky to. I sometimes say have thick skin, but I think I've got a strong mental state, and it might be ignorance. I kind of just do what I want to do. Is that a bit selfish? And if people don't like it, I don't mind. But yeah, I guess I'm trying to speak up for those who I know do fall by the way. So many young people leave the Adventist church. I've heard the stats might be, and I want to do a program on this, but I got into trouble last time I mentioned the number. I've heard it's around 60% of young Adventists leave the church. And I think a lot of them are quite creative. And you cannot squeeze creatives into the template. And I was so lucky to kind of go, oh, well, get squeezed here and there, but I'll also do things in the secular world, and I'll change things up a little bit. And sadly, it was normalized in my brain as well, which maybe I will need to go and have some psychoanalysis done on me. But I'm trying to speak up to those who aren't creatives, but could have a voice to support them to do it. And for those creatives that are feeling the pressure every now and again to go, hang on, this isn't normal. This shouldn't be happening. And to push back. I'd love to see a bit of that happening. Jenny writes, love the young ones embracing life. Dancing is moving to what to me isn't a sin when they're letting their body move, just like little kids do once they hear music. Nothing suggestive that I saw. 100%. It was zero anything like that. Absolute zero. GD, seems like Peter ain't coming back home, Rodney. Yes. I think I want to say to people who may want to leave the church, it doesn't mean you have to leave your friends. And if people disown you, well, they weren't your true friends anyway. It's not I don't see why people think, oh, okay, I've gone. I've got to cut my ties. I don't get that. Obviously, you can see that. But it doesn't make me still attached to it. I'm not kind of attached in a psychological needing kind of way. I feel very separate, but I haven't cut my friendships and my connections. And I understand that really easily when people say, why are you still involved? I don't get that. I'm not enmeshed. Is that the right word? I'm not enmeshed like a tumor is enmeshed in its host. I'm socially engaged. Oh, that's right. Darren's posts are called Soapbox Moments. They're very, very good. Thanks, Darren. Keep them up. Come on the show one day. I'd love that. Darren has a wonderful, decisive wisdom. Need more Darrens. Being a counsellor in Morisset for 10 years. Yes, heard it all. Thank you very much, Jenny. Keep doing what you're doing. Thank you. Michael C. This is a problem in all churches. No, it's not. It's not a problem in all churches. I promise you that, Michael, because since 1983, I, in Australia, played, and New Zealand, played in, you name it, all the denominations, apart from the cults like Jehovah's Witnesses and Mormons, Baptists, Anglicans, High Anglican, Catholics, like you name it, I played for all the other denominations. There was not this kind of problem. Incorrect. Buzzer. When are you coming on the show? Have we arranged that yet, Michael C? And I think someone agrees with me there. Yeah. No, it is not a problem in all denominations. I played for 16 years in a row. I love these kind of long play things that I do at the Black Stump Festival, which is united, as in lots of denominations coming together, Anglican uniting, Baptist, all there together, and they have music all weekend. It was sadly we stopped playing because it ended, not because I was banned. And we had a ball. It was incredible. Black Stump. Oh, if anyone's watching that has anything to do with Black Stump, please start it again. Yeah, my band, the Outback Hippies, played there every year for 16 years as the closing band of the weekend. And boy, it was so much fun. Anyway, look, time for me to go. Thank you so much for watching today. If you'd like to support what I'm doing, you can make a donation, even $2. Coffee. Coffee's like $7 now. It's paypal.me/Peter Dixon Music. That's what really helps me to keep going as I keep providing this information, this program, SDAQ&A, and helps me look after my girls as well. So yeah, if you've got a few cents you'd like to send my way, it'd be a great help. You can scan the QR code there as well and support the channel. Well, thank you everyone, and don't forget, tomorrow I am back at 12:30 Wednesday Sydney time, 5:30 LA time Tuesday night tomorrow. So I'm going to share what is the whole point of the Adventist movement. Why is it here? I'm not going to go into the details of visions and plagiarism and she said, he said, and the disputes. I'm just going to tell you for a fact the whole point of Adventism, the reason it exists, why it's here. And I hope you can join me. Hey, I'll play out with that track again. See you tomorrow. Thank you, everyone. Take care.